The Fearless Podcast, in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. All right, y'all. We are back. This is the Fearless Podcast, episode 64.
Episode 64. Second take.
Take two.
So
click.
Hopefully the gremlins have been sorted out. The demons.
Are the daemons ever sorted out when it comes to
Never.
the technocratic stuff? So episode 64, we're going to be covering a couple articles, maybe some news type things, and talking about all the kind of cool stuff. We let us know if you like the new format where we're getting into our main topics first, and then we're filling in the background stuff. It's for those that aren't necessarily interested in the banter, and the jokes,
the drum beating,
all the stuff that we enjoy the most about the podcast. That's probably just for us. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about the new vice president selection of JD Vance, and we're also going to be talking about the war on food in Africa, the global war on food. It doesn't seem to be like an Americana thing. It definitely seems to be like a global technocratic thing. So we're going to be talking about that. Funny little anecdote right before the podcast started. Matt said right before we fired up the recording, and he was like, I didn't know that PERM stood for permanent. And you know, for any of y'all like not in the loop, like we're super like hip culture warriors. So we have our finger on the pulse of culture when it comes to like jeggings and yoga pants and all these different things. And I know that it's been kind of a thing for a year or two now with the resurgence of the mullet. There's been a resurgence of the permanent for dudes. So that's like I don't know if they've made like a conjunctive word out of it, like a dirtiment, or I like to call a turdiment.
I don't know.
Something like that. But yeah.
I looked up like the side effects on perms, and it's not good. Like literally like the second one or third one is like your hair could fall out. It's like, oh, great. Cool. Like
I could have curly hair, or it could all fall out,
or I could go bald. I'm like, just that being in there, like if there's any possibility, that just go ahead and like don't do it.
The
like,
perm chemicals smell like a cross between like
a monkey poop,
dung, and battery acid. It is definitely, when I smell that, I'm like, oh, I definitely want to rub that into my scalp
all over
and
my
leave
head.
it there for like an hour, because nothing but good can come from that. Like that will add value to my life if I rub battery acid infused dung all over my scalp.
Yeah. So how this conversation started was I went to our local barber, and we were getting our hairs cuts,
all of them.
And anyway, so there was a young man there. He was probably like 12 maybe, and his mom was there too.
Oh no.
And his mother walked in.
It's over, y'all.
He had this very sloppy hair do.
You didn't the 12-year-old had a permanent.
Yeah. He had really sloppy hair. He was trying to do like, he was at the beginning stage of having a mullet in the back, and then like his floppy hair came almost over his eyeballs in the front. And his mom was like, we just got the perm.
They turned the frogs gay. Yep.
We just got the perm done or whatever. And
they turned the frogs gay.
And I just came over here. We haven't even washed the chemicals out of it or anything yet. And can you just like, do this certain design? It's right here on my phone.
How about new?
And it was like, I promise you, it was some type of Instagram photo that she showed of some gay guy or something. And anyway, so she's like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And so she gets her buzzers out.
Matt, wait,
Barbara
pump
does.
The brakes. You're way too judgy, bro.
I know. And I say it all in a loving way. And so
that's your heart.
The barber gets out the little buzzers and goes zip zip. And she's like, oh, that's perfect. Great. And she's like, so do you like that? Oh, he's like, oh yeah, I love it. I'm like, there's literally no difference. Like, I don't even see any difference there. And she's like, okay, that'll be $18. And then they leave.
Wow. I had no
I'm like, oh
idea it was like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So this female person that you were assuming was his mother.
Yeah.
She was treating her 12-year-old son like a lopsa or something.
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's where we are, y'all.
Well, yeah, when I walked into the barber shop, he had his knees up into his shirt, like in a weird position.
In the fetal position.
Yeah, yeah. And then he had his shirt covering all of his whole entire legs and everything. I'm like, wow.
Bless his heart.
That's kind of impressive. So,
well, we're going to change the subject.
I think
we're
the
way too judgy.
perm was getting to his brain. Poor guy.
Unfortunately, poor guy.
Yeah,
it was. And, God gave him parents to protect him from all that stuff. But, this is the world we live in. And so, say no to perms, y'all. All right.
Yeah, and drugs. So,
and chemicals. Okay.
Period.
So, I wanted to let y'all know about some background info on JD Vance that I thought was pertinent. And the reason I find so much curiosity, there's nothing new under the sun. And for those of you that are younger folk like my son here, they're completely unaware of the Ronald Reagan administration.
Totally.
Yeah. And, Ronald Reagan was a Democrat from California. And then, he magically became a conservative Republican, and he was running with a guy by the name of Barry Goldwater. And I'm not real good at extemporaneously extracting facts from my brain, but there's a autobiography on Barry Goldwater that has lots of interesting information in it. But for those of you that now know, Barry Goldwater was not Ronald Reagan's vice president. Ronald Reagan's vice president was George Bush Sr., who previously was the CIA director and had previous ties to many things, including the JFK assassination. And then so you have this conservative guy, and he's going to do all this great stuff. Another interesting fact was that one of Ronald Reagan's catchphrases was "Make America Great Again." So he ran on "Make America Great Again." So this isn't some kind of new Trumpism. This isn't Trump's idea. This is repackaged, political bread and circuses. And it's a lot like Back to the Future 8, which hasn't been written yet, but it is coming soon. It's like Back to the Future 8, where you can't have any good original ideas or have any traditional ideas of real value and traditional values. It has to be like postmodern, repackaged, technocratic. I don't want to get dark, y'all. I don't want to get dark. Yeah. We kid because we care, and you got to laugh because you'll cry. So we try to mix it up. This is a comedy show, by the way.
Very true.
So in case anybody is looking for medical information
or comical relief
or like health recommendations, you won't find it here. This is completely satire and comedy. And another hilariously humorous announcement: now that we are demonetized on YouTube for animal abuse, hey, we want to apologize for all
spider lives matter. Okay,
we want to apologize for all
poisonous
the animals.
Sorry, venomous ones.
We've never abused.
Not poisonous; they're venomous. I got schooled on that one. It's not poisonous; it's venomous.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
So,
but it would be poisonous if you ate the venomous spider, though. So
possibly. I mean, you don't know that for a fact. If it would definitely be poisonous, and I think that was actually the snake reference and not this spider reference.
I know, but I'm just saying because
you're funny.
Yeah, it was a wolf spider.
Yeah.
So
they're neither venomous nor poisonous.
Oh, really? They're just neutral?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, they eat other insects.
Oh, I thought people have been bit by them though.
No, I think you're thinking of a brown recluse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I do not think that wolf spiders bite humans.
Okay. I can't fact check you. I don't got a computer here, so okay.
But interestingly enough, y'all, we have passed 100,000 subscribers on YouTube
and have sustained it for longer than 24 hours.
And we're holding strong at like 3 days now. So
hey, personally, I'll take being demonetized. And if I get more views and my subscribers just are like normal and go up, I'll just stay demonetized. Like, just go ahead and call up YouTube and be like, hey, you can have your $200 a month.
Exactly.
Okay? You can keep that, or whatever.
Just don't throttle me and shadow
please. Me. If anybody's watching the normal main channel, email us or drop a comment down below. Is there still ads on the channel? Because technically there should be 0 ads on the channel.
Technically there should be, but everything that I've heard from demonetized channels is they still have ads.
They still run ads.
Yeah.
Slimy snakes.
Yeah.
So anyway, very exciting news. It's been 8 years going on 9 years with the YouTube channel. We started in August 26th, I believe. It's either 26th or 16th of 2016. And yeah, it's been a fun one. And it's been ups and downs. And I forget how many times we've went to go cross 100,000 subscribers and never did.
Many. It's like crossing the Rubicon.
Yeah.
Many times.
And 100,000 is just like a good even number, because we had to keep telling people like, yeah, we got almost 100,000, or like, then we just started rounding up and be like, yeah, we have 100,000 subs. But you just always had that thing in the back of your mind, like, you really don't, like, you never really got that goal. And I'm pretty sure that was our goal for this year, was to hit 100,000 subs, and we wrote it down. Actually,
it was one of your written goals, and and you've achieved almost all of your written goals,
which is so hilarious,
because
we put it on there as a joke, because we're like, maybe this year we'll actually hit 100,000 subs, because I think last year we put that on our goal and we didn't hit it. We got really close.
Yeah.
But it just
several times.
Yeah. Like we were 100 subs away, and then we backtracked like probably 1,000 subscribers. And then we finally have caught up a little bit, but yeah, definitely a big shout out to everybody that's been subscribed and that has stayed subscribed and just has been very faithful.
Yeah.
And we have about like 1,000 people that are like super faithful, and just big thank you to all of y'all.
And they get our humor. They understand that we aren't judgy, whatever.
No,
we like to laugh and joke. And
relatively go with the flow for the most part.
And we're conventional, traditional people. And we still, what was funny in 1980 is still funny today. And so we can, we can still act like men, can still act like men, and women can still act like women, the way they were created, and everything will be great. And we don't have to be empathetic. We can still be sympathetic.
Yeah, we can be sympathetic.
But we don't have to be empathetic and all these other postmodern ideas. But
anyway,
let's jump into the article. This comes to you from Unlimited Hangout.
Yep.
This article by Whitney Webb, the man behind Trump's VP pick. It's worse than you think. Now, look, don't shoot the messenger. I didn't say it. She said it. I'm just reading the screen. So while J.D. Vance has his own controversies, his close connection to billionaire Peter Thiel, who is poised to have an unprecedented influence in a new Trump administration, should deeply unsettle every American who cares about freedom, privacy, and reigning in the surveillance state. Now, I want to bounce back to my Reagan analogy. Okay, so Barry Goldwater had a really great understanding of economics and the economy and improving the economy, right? But when they were them, and those, and the powers that shouldn't be that select the nominees that we get to democratically vote for, even though we only ever get to vote for 2 people, one of 2 people, because any other vote isn't your voice. Any other vote is throwing away your vote or voting for the bad guy. So there's always one good guy and there's always one bad guy. And if you don't think that either of those wings of that foul bird represent you, if you don't vote for one of them, if you don't vote for Coke or Pepsi, then you're either throwing your vote away. If you don't vote, you don't get to complain. Well, if you don't vote for my guy, you don't get to complain, because if you vote for somebody that represents you, you're throwing your vote away. But voting matters. So you can see the control of the dialogue and how it's completely circular and there's no logic, ration, or reason to it. But Barry Goldwater wasn't going to work for the actor Ronald Reagan, just like if Donald Trump magically picked somebody like even Vivek Ramaswamy with all of his issues and problems with bioengineering and all these other stuff. Even with all of his issues, like he couldn't be the vice president. We needed somebody with a mega deep state technocratic connection that nobody's ever heard of, that I've never heard of. And I pay attention to this stuff. I'd never heard of this guy. And in the exact same way that magically all of a sudden, Ronald Reagan wasn't going to be allowed on the ticket unless he took the deep state's selection as his VP. Because you got the good, charismatic guy with a smile that can talk nice and recite his lines and everything. And then you got kind of like the checks and the deep state checks and balances. And I see, and in just a very clarion similarity here. And maybe this is a multiverse and this is just a reboot 2.0 or something like that. I'm joking a little bit, but anyway. After the recent revelation that Donald Trump had selected J.D. Vance, yeah, I think Donald Trump selected J.D. Vance. Not a chance. As his vice president, public attention not only turned towards Vance, but also to the billionaire Peter Thiel. Vance has been one of several prominent Thiel proteges whose profiles has risen in the recent years, with other proteges of the PayPal co-founder, including OpenAI Sam Altman and Andurill's Palmer Luckey. Recent reports have also noted that Thiel's first recruited Vance into his circle while Vance was still a student at Yale Law School. Shortly thereafter, Vance joined Thiel's investment firm, Mithril Capital, where he worked for 2 years before joining Revolution Ventures. Vance played a major role in Revolution's Rise of the Rest seed fund, whose major investors included Amazon's Jeff Bezos and the Walton family of Walmart. And this is the who's who of they, them, and those, and the billionaires and the technocrats. And this is that unsavory network. You know, when you think of the World Economic Forum and public-private partnership, and you hear Amazon and you hear Walmart, these are they, them, and those.
Yeah.
Whose boast longstanding deep ties to the Clinton family. Vance later launched his own venture capital firm, Naria Capital, in 2020, which was heavily funded by Thiel, as well as former Google CEO Eric Schmidt. Schmidt, a major Democrat donor, has been the guiding hand behind the Biden administration's science and tech policy, and has dominated the development of the AI policies of the U.S. military and intelligence communities, largely through his leadership of the National Security Commission on AI. As Unlimited Hangout previously reported, the Schmidt-led NSC AI promoted policies like the end of private car ownership and in-person shopping in the United States to advance America's adoption of AI as supposed national security imperative in the lead up to the COVID era lockdowns. Both Schmidt and Thiel are key members of the steering committee of the controversial closed door and overtly globalist Build-A-Bear conference. So if you're not familiar with the Build-A-Bears, it is not just a little kiosk at your local mall that is slowly dying, but if you learn more about the Build-A-Bear, now if I say the name of the group, we will get the old throttle action, so I will refer to them as the Build-A-Bears. Okay, Newsweek once called Schmidt and Thiel the two most influential figures at Build-A-Bear. And Peter Thiel, if he was a Build-A-Bear, he would have a pink bow. Okay. Now that's just another tip on Thiel. Thiel has donated heavily to Vance's political career, giving $15 million to Vance's successful Senate bid in 2022 election cycle in what was then the largest donation ever given to one Senate candidate. Yeah, basically guaranteed that he got elected. Thiel also joined Vance, a former never Trumper. There's lots of recordings of J.D. Vance smashing, cracking, and crushing on Trump and verbally stating himself that he was absolutely a never Trumper. I'm not sure what's changed. You know, people get to change their mind, you know. You do get to change your mind. And you really get to change your mind when it monetarily benefits you in a great way. On a visit to Trump's Mar-a-Lago, where Vance successfully won the former president's blessing, Thiel also connected Vance to other members of the so-called PayPal mafia, like David Sachs, who donated $1 million to Vance and hosted a fundraiser for him. Sachs, along with PayPal co-founder Elon Musk, were allegedly a key factor in Trump's selection of Vance as vice president, as they ran a secret lobbying campaign for Vance that also included media presenter Tucker Carlson. You know, and if you think that Trump chose Vance, you probably think that Reagan chose Bush, and he clearly did. So Thiel had been a major donor to Trump's 2016 campaign and served on Trump's transition team with other Thiel-linked figures like Trey Stevens, dramatically influenced Trump's pentagram appointments. Stevens' influence at the Trump pentagram also helped develop the military's relationship with Thiel-funded company Anduril, which was co-founded by Stevens and Thiel fellow Palmer Luckey. Before Anduril, Luckey developed the virtual reality system Oculus Rift, which was later sold to Facebook.
Oh, good.
Where Thiel then served on the board. So you continue to hear all of the they, them, and those, and Bezos and Zuckerberg and Bookface and all of the strangling technocracy that continues to censor and create and manipulate reality and augment reality and create your feeds so that you're getting alt-right white extremism, and it's carving you out. And this is all part of the panopticon. All right. Adderils. Where do they come up with these names?
What a name.
I think that's another name for Satan. I'm sure it's probably
if you did some type of research into it.
Anduril,
demonic.
Anduril's unmanned drones have also come to play a major role in Ukraine military operations. You've probably seen videos of that, of people getting exploded by these unmanned drones during the Russian-Ukraine conflict, as have other controversial Thiel-funded companies like Palantir, a CIA contractor, and Clearview AI, which use mainly photos posted on Bookface, another Thiel-backed company, to develop its Orwellian facial recognition database. These companies' close ties to the Ukrainian military may impact a second Trump administration's policies as it relates to American support for Ukraine, particularly if Thiel is slated to hold significant influence. Beyond Ukraine, this network of Thiel-funded defense companies are remaking the face of warfare and slowly but surely replacing human decision-making with AI. wow, that's great. I mean, what could possibly go wrong there? I mean, they've taken all of the war killing, and now humans don't have to kill; they just get to die.
Yeah.
So that's really good for the guys that like to make war, and really bad for the rest of us. But what happens when you run out of people to kill? I don't know. But while these ties should be unsettling on their own, the potential influence of Teal on the upcoming Trump administration should concern every American, regardless of where they fall on the political spectrum. Most of them might fall on the autistic spectrum, but it's a possibility because that's the way politics is now. It's very, very dialectic, and it's very cringy. It's very tribal. And it's insane. And you can't have a normal conversation, because if you question anything in someone's paradigm, you are immediately the opposite. So like if you question anything about the Republicans, which is really strange because now you're hearing more about the uniparty, right? And you hear more people lumping the left and right together, but somehow they still make this dialectic flip when it comes to Trump, even when he picks some deep state cutout like JD Vance, and he's still like this outsider that's going to drain the swamp and lock up Hillary Clinton. And he's going to release Julian Assange. Oh, wait a minute. That already happened. Can't release Julian Assange now. Well, hopefully, maybe he'll release Russ Ulbricht. That would be nice, but we'll see. We'll see. Fat chance. Well, these ties should be unsettling on their own. The potential influence of Teal on the upcoming Trump administration should concern every American. Thiel's information awareness. While Peter Thiel has long marketed himself as a libertarian, his track record from PayPal only has revealed him to instead be an architect of modern surveillance state and a successor to the neoconservative cabal that once tried but failed to do the same. During PayPal's earliest days, Thiel and his colleagues went around to various government agencies, including intelligence agencies, to see how they could best tailor their product to win government support and contracts for their products and services. After leaving PayPal, Thiel would follow a similar path in creating another company, Palantir. Palantir is the engine on which the surveillance state runs. And soon after Vance was announced as Trump's vice president, it was reported that Palantir's co-founder, Joe Lonsdale, as well as Palantir itself, were backing a Trump-Vance super PAC called America PAC. That sounds great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this article for you. I'm going to highly encourage you to read it. This isn't my opinion. This is Whitney Webb's opinion and her research. And it is very documented, and it is very well sourced. So, I mean, it is what it is. And you know, it's super concerning. If there was any hopium at all, you would think that if you were going to create this dialectic where, you know, we had this political messiah that would actually kind of pull off this. I don't know if Trump was speaking at some religious organization thing, and he literally said, I should have cued it because I really did want to play that about, look, Christians, I'm a Christian. Look, Christians, you only have to vote once, and then I'm going to fix it. You'll never have to vote again. And he literally said that out loud to people, and they clapped. And that's sad.
Yeah.
And and it's wild. I can't, you know, it's one thing. It's one thing to be genuine, and it's another thing to be that. But yeah, I just can't buy it, y'all. And
yeah, it's definitely bread and circuses. Definitely.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. But yeah, I'll post that article below. And if what do you want to do now, Matt? Do you want to jump into the next article, or what do you want to do?
We could do around the farm.
Okay.
Real quick.
Okay.
And just give an update on
What's
that.
going on around the farm?
So around the farm, there's been some great news actually around the farm. And like mixed with bad news too. So I don't think I ever talked about it on the podcast, but our John Deere tractor has been like the best tractor ever. It's like a 1990 something.
An old John Deere. It's not a woke John Deere.
Yeah, it's not a woke one.
Pre-woke.
It's pre-woke. And it's very...
It's nothing sacred.
I know, right? So it's super, super base. So there's no like any fancy digital...
And not base
anything.
like the new hip kid speak. Like
no.
Base like no frills. Base.
Yeah, base like that.
Not based.
So anyway,
please, Lord, come quickly.
Yeah, right. So anyway, it's been a great tractor. We've had it for, man, probably 6 years now. 6 years, 7 years now. Quite a while, and have had very little problems with it. But anyway, so we have probably bush hogged well over 100 acres with it. Well over 100 acres with it.
Oh yeah. Very easily.
Possibly a couple hundred acres with it. So anyway, that is a lot of strain on your PTO shaft. And anyway, so about a couple weeks ago, we hooked up the brush hog and we started bush hogging again. And the PTO clutch that controls that whole thing pretty much is totally worn out. We had our mechanic come out. You can adjust it. He fully like tightened it up as much as you can go with it, with the adjustment on there. And it still was just like slipping, So anyway, the rest of the tractor is fine. So anyway, big praise the Lord, we got the tractor insured by Texas Farm Bureau, and they have been incredible.
Hey, y'all, shameless plug. I mean, this isn't sponsored, and it probably never would be sponsored.
Would love to be sponsored
by Texas Farm Bureau.
We should reach out.
But I deal with them a lot on a business level, which is why I have all my insurance with them. And they insure our homes,
everything.
They insure our property, they insure our cows, they insure our vehicles, they insure our side-by-sides.
The brush hog.
They insure our tractor and brush hog.
Very, very short story, but we hit a big stump with the bush hog, right? We called them up and they were like, okay, yep, just take it to John Deere and whatever it is, it's a made in Italy bush hog, like a beast mode bush hog. But the shear pin, for some weird reason, didn't shear. And so it absolutely destroyed the top motor or whatever. So it was $2,500, close to $3,000 in repairs. And they, no fuss, no muss, and our deductible was $2 something for that.
Yeah, $250.
And anyway, so I called him up and I talked to Mama. I was like, well, it is insured. Let's see if they would cover something like that. And
crazy.
Yeah, they were like, yep, it's insured. I talked to John Deere before calling them just to see the price on it. And they were like, if everything goes perfect, we have to pull the tractor in half and to get to the PTO clutch plates and everything. And he said, normally when you're doing something like that on a little bit of an older tractor, normally you want to go into the transmission and also just check on everything in the transmission, since you already got the tractor in half, and just make sure everything's looking good in there. I think he said the transmission clutch, if I'm not mistaken, just to make sure that's not worn or anything like that. He said, if everything goes perfectly, $5,000. And I was like, man, that's a lot of money to put into an older tractor.
Yeah, and in perspective, right? I paid $10,000 for the tractor and the brush hog 7 years ago, and we've already rebuilt the brush hog for $2,800. And
yeah,
if I took the brush hog money with the repair, yeah, I could have easily. But the other thing, fast forward 8 years, I couldn't even come close to buying our tractor and brush hog now for $10,000.
Is a 65 horsepower tractor.
Like $20,000.
It would be probably closer to 25,000 if you were going to buy it like barely used, So anyway, so we're like, dang, that's a lot of money. So what we actually ended up doing before we called the insurance is we were like, we should check into some of these DR pull behind brush mowers, and we're going to be making several videos on this thing.
Really?
Testing it out, seeing if it's
you heard him, y'all.
up to snuff.
Hold his feet to the fire.
I know. At bare minimum shorts, but I would really love to make some real long form videos because there's 0 on YouTube of this thing.
Right, exactly.
You know, so DR, if you're listening, they literally don't ever sponsor anybody or give anybody anything for free. So we had to buy it. But anyway, so
thanks.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's coming. So that was awesome. So that was like a plan B. If the insurance wasn't going to cover the tractor, we're like, look, we can still pick up hay and everything with the tractor. Just we ain't spending $5,000 on that tractor. Like we'll just save that money, ride her till she dies, and then put it into the next tractor or whatever. So, or just pick up a little tractor for $5,000 with no front loader or anything. It'll just be the dedicated bush hog tractor, something like that. But anyway, so we called up our insurance and she was like, yeah, that should totally be covered. They came out, took some photos of it, and they're like, yeah, just go ahead and take it to John Deere, and whatever it is, it's going to be covered. So that was a big praise the Lord. Big blessing. Yeah. And our deductible is only $250. So
yeah. Yeah. Texas Farm Bureau is incredible. So if you are local Texas,
if you are starting a homestead, get insurance on stuff because you're going to, especially expensive stuff, because it will break. And when it does break, it will always break in the most inconvenient time when you're going through like a harder time with money or something like that, or fill in the blank. And it is.
Well, yeah. And Texas Farm Bureau is exclusively one of the only companies
that will do that.
Yeah. A farm, ranch, ag, centric insurance.
It's awesome.
So I don't even know if other insurances, if other carriers will even do that kind of stuff. No. But yeah, it's a huge blessing.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's some free advertisement for Texas Farm Bureau. Other than that, going around the farm, keep trying to keep it short.
We do want to announce our next meetup, which is this Saturday, August 3rd, 10 to 12 at Bob Wells Nursery at Sorella Farm in Mineola, Texas.
Potluck.
It's going to be a potluck. So bring your grub.
Yeah. If you want to eat food there, we advise bringing food.
Yeah. It's going to be a mutual exchange of food.
Yeah.
And so we're looking forward to it. Last time it was a lot of fun.
There's going to be a lot of carnivores there. There was last time.
There will be lots
so
of
if you are
there.
trying to think of like, what should I bring? Something meat related. Something that will fill people up.
Something ruminant animal.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, yep, that's around the farm pretty much. Oh, horse trailer update. It's almost done. James has been working his butt off on that thing. And we went to Home Depot, hopefully for the last time.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It was only $100.
No such thing.
Yeah. It will definitely not be the last time for that trailer. For that project. There's always like that one last thing. And he picked up like some of the trim and stuff for that. But he's been working like a crazy madman on that thing.
He's a madman.
And it you can see it too. So I'm gonna have to do an update video on that too, probably this evening.
Sweet.
He'll have some more stuff done on that. And that's around the